This is the first of two joint Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen meetings for the purpose of reviewing capital budgets, not to be confused with operating budgets, which will be done in January. The first item on our agenda is the Fire Commission. Sean and Karen Crabtree. Okay, who's going to start? Do we still have Sean?
Yep.
Earth to Sean, are you there?
I don't see Sean on here.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I see Karen.
I'm here. But I think we should pass and wait for Sean.
Okay.
I do see his name popped up. Yeah.
Nope. I just see him. No.
Yeah, I don't see him on the list of participants for some reason. So.
Yeah.
Is there
Let me call him right now. Let me call him.
Is there another item you could take up while we get him on the line?
Not really.
Hold on, let me call him.
Good.
Board is 6:30, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm having an issue.
What's your issue?
I can't get out. It's easier than I don't.
Okay.
Just dial in.
Okay. All right. Right. He's having an issue with trying to log in, so he's going to call in.
Okay.
He'll do the call in. He's having trouble. He can pops it and all of a sudden he loses it. So he's going to call in.
Okay.
Little harder remotely.
This is not an easy thing to do.
No.
Especially we got 9,000 people trying to get in.
I know, it's very frustrating.
The night of the discussion as to how Beach Road School was going to open up, they had almost 200 people on their, I think it was a WebEx. It was unbelievable. It's three or four screens worth of folks. We kept going to the right and seeing more people. It was amazing.
Oh, here he is. Oh, nope, not him.
It looks like Sean is on now. He just has to unmute himself.
Okay.
I don't see him. He's not coming up on my screen. Sean, are you there?
Well, if you swipe to the right, I see him. He just has to unmute. Let's see.
I see him. Yeah. Sean, unmute if you hear us.
We need Susan. She can give us a little musical interlude.
Karen Crosby, can you unmute Sean?
I've been trying to. It won't allow me to. There. And now it goes back.
I think we might have just lost him.
Yep.
Matt, we do have Al Pulo, and I see Christine Syriac, but she's muted, and James Crawford. So I guess
Up to them. If they wanna get going, then we could just come back to the fire commission. Is Al, do you hear me, Al?
I can hear you. Can everyone hear me?
You need somebody there, or you have enough people here to present.
Then it's Christine. Hi, Christine.
So you'd like us to start then?
Yeah, why don't you?
Okay, thank you. So good evening and thank you for inviting us to join you this evening. The Board of Ed capital budget is a total 6-year capital spending plan, which totals $2.8 million. This evening, we will address year one, which is 2022, the capital budget request of $451,000. The categories of our request include technology infrastructure, which Mr. Crawford will be speaking to in greater detail, asphalt replacement with a focus on safety for emergency egress around the various pathways we have around Beecher Road School. Mr. Asparo will speak to that. And roofing restoration, focus on restoration versus more costly replacement of the K-wing roof. And again, Mr. Asparo will also speak to that in greater detail. For the Board of Education, buildings and grounds related to the capital budget requests are generally identified and prioritized by the Facilities Committee meetings each month, which are facilitated by Jeff Hughes. Then the identified projects are brought forward to the Finance Committee for additional stakeholder discussion and planning as part of the capital budget process. The Finance Committee also has the opportunity to receive very valuable guidance from the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen liaisons who join us at those meetings. The Board of Ed unanimously approved the plan for tonight's presentation at their October 19th meeting. And also joining us this evening is Dr. Jonathan Budd, the new superintendent, who will be taking over on December 14th and who will have an active role in planning the 2022 budget, as well as Al Pulo, the Director of Business Services and Operations, and to whom I'm going to turn the presentation over to at this point in time.
Thank you, Christine. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Karen, are we able to, can James Crawford share the presentation?
Yes. Hold on.
Okay.
Just need to.
So while we're getting those technical issues opened up, again, as Christine had captioned in her opening remarks, the total 6-year plan, when we look at that horizon, is just shy of $2.8 million. And it's focused on things of technology, buildings and grounds, our interior and exterior of the Beecher campus. And several of you at the table this evening will remember in years past that we've invited you for your observations. So it's one thing to see the projects on paper, but hopefully it also helps having visited the campus and being visually familiar with many of the projects. So this evening's presentation focuses on FY22 year one of the 6-year horizon, and it comprises 3 projects. In total, 451,000 of the 2.8 million. So with that intro, and now that I see the presentation on the screen, I invite Mr. Crawford to speak to the, I believe it's the next, you're gonna wanna advance 2 slides.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us here tonight. So technology infrastructure, we're doing some routine replacement and some additions to the school. We're doing some additional wiring to the school building, replacing some outdated access points and adding some new access points as we've seen needs grow with remote learning and hybrid learning this school year. We're also purchasing an additional, or hope to purchase an additional wireless access controller that makes points and a Windows domain control server. So totaling out about $20,000 for that request. So most of this that goes around with the wireless, we've seen an increased need, as you can imagine, with our remote learners and our hybrid learners this school year, needing a robust wireless system. And that's what we're hoping to put in place.
Okay.
And I think the next one is Vito.
Can I ask a question about the technology?
Yes.
How well did it work for the remote learning, and how much of what you're doing is uniquely necessitated by remote learning?
So remote learning is going, I think, very well right now. This current week we are all remote. So it's been a good test of everything. The pieces that I am talking to right now, the replacing of outdated wireless access points is a kind of a routine replacement. That's something that we would have done in years past. The additional wiring, we're noticing in some of the areas of the school where larger portions of the school can congregate, or places that didn't typically need wireless or a robust wireless, like our kindergarten and our first grade wings, could now withstand needing a more robust wireless access in that area. So do they need it typically or just for remote learning? No. Will it enhance any remote learning? Yes. Any kind of increase in the wireless bandwidth will help.
And have you also prepared, if it is, suppose it's 6 months or a year of remote learning, are you adequately prepared for that?
So a lot of our pieces where we would need to prepare would come out of the operating budget and not out of the capital. So that would be looking at, our one-to-one devices, where we are one-to-one in grades 2 through 6. We'd be looking at supplying those. So there's other requests that I've made to Mr. Pulo and Ms. Syriac and Dr. Budd about upgrading some technology for teachers and students. But that would be as part of the operating budget, not the capital request.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is Beth. Could I ask a question, Matt?
You don't need my permission, sir. Absolutely.
So it sounds like the technology infrastructure is not necessarily applicable to just remote. It will be something that you need independent of remote learning. Should something wonderful happen and we're out of this in 6 months, it'll still be necessary going forward, correct? For various parts of the school and things like that that don't have adequate wireless, correct?
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Okay.
How much of this is applicable to wiring? How much more wiring are we doing over there at the school?
So wiring, we're looking at moving a lot more of the access points to making almost one access point per classroom in some of the upper grades. So there's not a ton of it that would be wiring, probably in the $5,000 to $6,000 range when we pull the wires to the different parts of the building. So that is something that we look at that is E-rate eligible for the financing. So that'd be pulling the wires and the access points themselves are something that are E-rate eligible. So we'd probably be maximizing our dollars through those fundings.
And if I could just add to that, the amount that's included in the capital request is net of any anticipated E-rate reimbursement.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions on the technology infrastructure? Okay, why don't we go on to asphalt replacement? I believe that's Vito's department.
Yes. We have a $93,000 cost for asphalt replacement. This would replace the various sidewalks that go around the classroom exterior of the building. So fire exits, paths that we snow blow or used to snow blow. This would also repair and replace the emergency access road that leads to the north playgrounds where ambulance or fire trucks would have to access the back of the building. And this would also include the sidewalks in the back of the campus. Some are damaged from tree roots that have cracked them and pushed them away, and other ones have sunk over time, causing ponding against the building. And this would be, we have some pictures on the left behind our south gym and some of the other walks that some we avoid snow blowing because the snow blowers can't traverse the tree roots, and others we just try to maintain as much as possible.
Okay, any questions on that? Okay.
What would the impact be if we were to?
I have a question. Sorry,
Sorry.
Vito. I have a question about the asphalt. Is it a two-part proposal? I can't find the paperwork right now. When I first looked at it, it looked like it was two. It's how much for the asphalt?
Yes, I believe on the capital.
It's 93.5 for FY22, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And another 500,000 in 2024.
That's for additional.
What's up?
You won't worry about it, but
Yes, those numbers were gathered to include the north parking lot and the D-wing parking lot and other larger parking areas. This is more of safety and fire egress concern areas.
got it.
This also,
The 93.5 then is just the areas of asphalt around the building and the safety issues. Then the 500 is later on for a parking lot. Gotcha.
Sleeping.
Okay.
and
Thank
will
you.
this also address the doors, the gaps in the doors or thresholds? Because I see the picture at the top there of the back of it. I believe that's the back of the gymnasium.
Yes, there are some that it definitely will. I can't speak to every threshold. It's going to depend on when they tear it out. But for the most part, yes, it should correct some of the threshold issues and some of the, handicap exit issues where we've, patched over the years that it was retrofitted in there as opposed to designed that way.
Okay, because I do remember the walk that I took through there last year, and this particular door was pretty bad, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Oh, I on the walk, I believe the door we're speaking of behind the rotunda, we did actually address that and added a weather stripping, a mechanical weather stripping. So that threshold has been taken care of through the fix to the door.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else on the asphalt? Okay, then how about roofing restoration / replacement?
All right, we have a project of roof restoration for $337,500. This would refurbish the kindergarten roof. This is the roof that is over the main kindergarten wing, the cafeteria, and the north offices. It's 23 years old. It was put on during the 97 renovation. The price for refurbishment would be $15 a square foot compared to $25 a square foot. The cost of replacement jumps up to $562,000, and there's a timeliness factor in the refurbishment versus restoration. I believe it's a 10% threshold of our insulation under the roof has to not be saturated, or if 10% of the insulation is saturated, we would have to opt for a replacement. So this would be a timely repair on the roof. We've since putting it in, we've had the gas lines added. We've added equipment during the renovation, including rooftop units. So we've tried to patch and take care of some of these leaks, but a lot of them are very persistent. Probably from years of wear and tear. As you can see in some of the pictures, we have some seams are splitting. We've patched. We probably have about 100 patches on the K-wing roof right now.
Are you seeing a lot of saturation in the insulation, Vito?
Our last thermo scan was around 12 months ago, and we were under the 10% threshold. Basically, our roofing contractors, you said sooner than later would be the optimal time to do it. At that point, we knew that there's a budget process, so we would have to do another thermo scan. But if I were going to wager, I'd say we'd be okay because we haven't any drastic changes to the leaks that we've had through the building or through the K-wing roof.
Okay, so where are we with regard to that 10% threshold? Are we at 5? Are we at 8?
I don't have the numbers to speak to. I know we're well below. We weren't at the point of immediate replacement. We were at the point where we were able to take time to do this. So I would have to get an updated thermo scan probably, this summer, this spring, just to, get an accurate number on that.
Okay.
What is the scope? What is the scope of work for the refurbishment versus a full replacement?
A full replacement, would basically be tearing the entire roof off and putting it in a landfill and putting a whole new roof and insulation down. The refurbishment would be adding another layer to the top of this roof, which would come with a 20-year warranty, like a roof replacement would. It would just, less cost to the budget and lower, environmental impact of tearing the whole roof off.
Okay, thank you.
Can people who are not speaking please mute? Because otherwise we're getting lots of feedback. Thank you.
This is Ellen. I just would like to go back to the asphalt question because I did the other way. I was muted and I kept talking and didn't realize I was muted. But just to go back on the asphalt, when were the sidewalks redone? The most recent repair of the sidewalks?
The most recent repair predates me, I believe. A K-Wing sidewalk is 97. I can't speak to the year around the A wing, but that predates my employment, so that was at the very soonest the 90s. S wing also predates my employment, so that was at the very soonest the 90s, and I believe the asphalt behind the South Gym in that area that might be even earlier than that, because I believe when I was playing kickball, it might have been the same asphalt. So I don't have the exact dates, but none are within my memory of being employed there.
Great, thank you very much.
Ellen, if I may, was your question regarding sidewalks immediately up against the building, or I believe you said the recent project, and wasn't sure if you were referring to when we redid the traffic circle, the north traffic circle through the STEEP grant?
I was not referring to that. I remember taking a tour and seeing the roots coming up in the asphalt, and I just didn't know if it ever got repaired since then, and I'm taking it has not been. Is that?
No.
That's correct. I do think, Vito, correct me if I'm wrong, Warren Connors and his team have occasionally come by and patched some areas of asphalt, but that's been more on the parking lot and the driveway as opposed to walkways, right?
Yes, they did some extensive patching on the D-Wing parking lot this past summer, actually, which made a big difference.
Thank you both. That's very helpful. Thanks.
In as much as we're going to be going to a bonding for these two roofing projects, I guess, have you evaluated all the roofs to see if we should be considering others, so that as long as we're going for a bond issue, we might as well know exactly where we stand with other roofs?
Yes, I actually, we did go through all the roofs, and for the most part, we were okay, because the A, B, and C wing roofs were new with the renovation, and the S wing and south roofs, they aren't up for refurbishment just yet. They're in fair condition. We have another part of the K wing roof above the library, which wasn't in the scope of this plan. That's about 7,000 square feet, and that's right above the that would just be the library roof. And one other roof to be aware of would be our D-Wing roof, which I believe D-Wing is 95, but that hasn't had as many leaks as this K-Wing roof, probably due to less traffic from just renovation and the gas lines. But the D-Wing roof would also be on the radar, and that's about 7,000 square feet also.
Okay. Okay, any other questions?
So I think, Matt, that it might be important to get an estimate then from Vito in terms of that D-wing roof.
Yeah.
Again, if we're going out for bonding, we only do this every so often.
Yeah.
And so it might be prudent to include that number as well.
If there's a desire to explore that pathway, we certainly can get a more current pricing estimate. But the $350,000 that's included in FY23,
Yeah.
I believe that estimate's about 4 or 5 years old. So it's not terribly dated, but if there is a desire for us to explore that, we can certainly true that up to a today number similar to the K-Wing project.
Okay, so does that include the D-Wing, that 350?
I believe so. Vito, correct?
I could speak.
D-Wing in the library?
No, I could speak to this. The 350 is the K-Wing. That's about 22,500 square feet. I actually have a fairly updated restoration cost within the past 6 months on these roofs. The D wing, and these are both at approximately 7,000. So library and D wing would each be 105 for the restoration versus 175 for a complete replacement. And those numbers are fairly recent, within, I believe, within the past 6 months. We did the calculations.
Okay. Anything else?
So this is just to be clear. So what we're suggesting is perhaps to include the other two, the library and the D wing, as part of the bonding, correct? That's what we're suggesting.
Yeah, at least if it's imminent, if we're going to go out to bond, we should.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Have a complete idea.
I just want to make sure that that.
I think that's the intent, Tom.
Yeah, Al and Vito hear that intent clearly, that we're suggesting that's what the capital budget request should be modified to include those.
And the original request that's in the budget should also be, is that up to date, or you said it was a few years old? We really need accurate numbers for this.
The roofing numbers are all within the past 6 months.
Okay, good. All right. I was confused. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we got all the questions. Okay. Now we'll move on. So I see. There he is.
I had a difficulty at the firehouse. I had a technical difficulty at the firehouse. I had to come back home to do this.
Okay.
Are you looking for something that's going to repair the problem you just had at the firehouse?
In about a month, I will. No, it's I don't know what happened. We definitely have an internet issue, so I got IT working on that right now, actually. So, if you want to start with engine 3, I don't know how your packet goes. So engine 3 is the truck we just took delivery on. We're actually just signing substantial completion on that truck. That truck we ordered 2 years ago. So just to keep it in mind that when we order a truck, and this was 2 years before COVID and everything else hit, to get a truck really into service once we sign a contract, it's about 2 years. And then depending on how we finance it, it's usually a year out. So this truck we just took delivery on. Is there any questions on engine 3?
Yeah, that's been approved.
Engine 9 is the next one. Engine 9 is our 1995 E1. It's going to be 28 years old. Like we did back when Ellen was first selectman back in 2015, we took delivery in 2015 of engine 7, which was 23 years old and was having some major difficulties. This truck is at the end of its useful life. We're currently coming up with a bid spec for the new engine 9, and hopefully we'll be coming to you in the next few months, sometime this winter, to order it. Just to keep it in mind, even though it's showing in FY23, we probably won't have a payment until FY24. With COVID and everything, the build time on a truck right now is 16 months to 2 years out. So it's quite a ways out. So when we order it, even if we were to order it now, the truck would probably show up a good 2 years from now. So and the payment would be 3 years out. That truck is the next truck to be replaced on for an engine.
Sean, when you say engine 9, what does that truck specifically do?
That truck specifically goes to motor vehicle accidents, car wrecks. It's the backup for engine 7. So if engine 7's out of service or has an issue, that is the truck that steps in to take over for drafting purposes and supplying the attack engine up at the fire. But that truck mostly rolls to all motor vehicle accidents. It carries foam on the truck, a Class B foam system, along with, hose, rescue tools, anything really. It's more designed for car accidents. Any other questions?
Sean, I see that
Sure.
it's 28 years old, or it's 20 years old now.
No, it's a 1995.
It
So an
says
FY
replaces
23.
engine 9, which will be 28 years old in fiscal year 22. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
So, is it being replaced because that's its natural lifespan, or because there are actually it's starting to show?
Usually
its
trucks,
age?
trucks for a town like us and for areas like this, with the amount of calls we have, 25 years is usually the max, and that's an NFPA standard. It's actually 20 years. We usually get 25 years out of them. And the reason why we're replacing is we're band-aiding together the generator that's on the truck. And it's not a generator like you'd have at your house. This is all tied into the electronics and everything of the truck, along with, it's got some body rot on it. And it's got some other issues. The pump is leaking. So it's nothing critical right this second, but in 2 years, it's probably going to be where we are with engine 7, where we were back in 2015.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. The next capital is car 201. This is the fire marshal vehicle. This is a 2008 Ford Expedition. This car, the fire marshal drives every single day of the week. Responds to calls with, does his investigations out of his stuff, inspections. This truck is going to be 14 years old. We're having serious mechanical issues. The muffler fell off. We had to send it out. We had that tied up. We have a head gasket issue on the truck. We just had a coolant leak. The coolant hose came off, rotted away. We have serious mechanical issues, and the repair bills are starting to really creep up, and the vehicle is probably not going to last much longer. This was in the budget for the last couple of years. It's gotten cut out, but this vehicle is not going to last us another year unless we start dumping serious money into it. It's not worth it.
And what's the mileage on that car?
I want to say the mileage is in the 160,000 range.
Thank you.
Sean, does he have this car with him 24/7?
He has access to the vehicle 24/7 because he does respond if we have a fire in the middle of the night or he has to do some type of investigation. Yes.
Okay. Anything else on that?
I'm sorry if I'm going a little quick.
No, that's okay.
The aerial, that's pretty self-explanatory. We purchased that a couple years ago through the association. We really need to take a look at, see where this is going to go in the next couple of years. We definitely need one. Since we've had it, we've actually been using it quite often, and it's become a useful tool for us to help out. But we could discuss that in another year. It's just something to keep on the radar right now. The other big thing right now is the AMPKIS tool. So basically, we have some tools in the department. These are what everybody would refer to as the jaws of life, the cutters, the spreaders. We also have rams, where if we have to lift the dashboard up, these are what these tools are designed for. The set of tools we're talking about are, I want to say we purchased them back in like 1996, 97, somewhere in that area. The problem is with technology and everything else, we've been band-aiding these tools for the last couple of years because we had spare parts and we could still get parts. The manufacturers stopped making parts for them, and we just don't have parts to have them fix them anymore. We have some leaks on one of the pistons on them, and the AMPKIS rams, we had to actually pull 2 rams off because the rams failed. So not failed during an emergency, but they failed during testing. So this is something we definitely need to do this year. The good thing about it is with technology in the fire service, especially, we had 2 power units when we did it, 2 AMPKIS rams, 1 spreader, and 1 AMPKIS cutter. the good thing about it is, with this new technology, we could save roughly $20,000 to $24,000 because we don't need to purchase the portable power unit anymore. We can do these with battery operated tools. So we already own one battery operated tool, and we would just purchase the battery operated tool. So instead of that number being about 64,000, 65,000, we can do the project for 42, which we definitely do this year because we can't get parts for these tools anymore.
Sure. No? Okay. Sean.
Thank you. All right.
Sean.
Okay.
Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Sean.
Is the police department here? Karen, is anybody here from the police department? No.
I told them to be sure to be on here by 6:45.
Okay, so we got 7 minutes. Tony, information systems, are you doing that, or are they doing that, or what? Tony there?
I'm here, yeah.
Oh, information systems,
It involves the police. I can certainly talk about it if you'd like.
Why don't you?
Okay. So as part of our replacement of our network, if you recall last year, we had it was basically a two-part plan where we would replace the town infrastructure first, which we did, and we had it over at the firehouse. All of our servers are at the firehouse, and it works out well. We replaced all of our wiring and our routers and a lot of equipment that was many years old. And so the second part of it is to replace the police infrastructure, and the chief's here now. And so the idea is that the police will have a similar server to ours, and we would replicate on each other in the event that one goes down, and it's provide extra backup. They would be separate, but they would be able to replicate on the town server and vice versa. The police would be housed in the radio room that they have back of the police station, and would include all new data cabling and network switches. And we're right in the middle of design the network. And as Frank could tell you, it's many years old. I think your system's probably.
Yes, as you know, it is. We've kind of been making do and getting by with it, but even now with some of the upgrades that they've started, they've compounded because every little thing they try to upgrade affects something else that that needs to be corrected too. So yeah, as Tony said, it's a long time coming. It'll be a great enhancement for us over here on the IT side for sure. And staffing wise, it's really going to help us because that'll give us the opportunity to free up our the sergeant that's doing IT now. That should give him a lot more free time, so he won't have to focus so much on the network side of the IT function, and he could concentrate more on supervisory duties, coupled with his law enforcement IT responsibilities, such as the body cameras and in-car videos and things such as that. So we're looking forward to it, and like I said, it's much needed. We've been having a lot of problems, and TBNG's been here for us, but they're ready to. They think this just moving forward will alleviate a lot of the problems that have been occurring for some time now.
Okay, any questions on that? And why don't we go to the police commission budget? see. Okay, the first item on our list here is body worn dashboard cameras. You want to address that?
Yeah, we switch over to that one. Okay, so our funding request for fiscal year 22 is in the amount of $29,350, and it's to purchase additional supplementary equipment associated with our body worn cameras and our patrol vehicle in-car video dashboard cameras, and that will be needed to maintain the department's compliance with the recently enacted legislation pursuant to Public Act 2001, an act concerning police accountability. This legislation and its requirements regarding the use of body and dashboard cameras takes effect on July 1st of 2022. So we have to have everything in place prior to that. We're somewhat fortunate, actually very fortunate, that we're somewhat ahead of the curve on this because we've already implemented body worn cameras and in-car videos in a lot of our cars. So we're not starting from the ground up, and like a lot of departments are. And that ends up being very costly, but we need to purchase the additional items and equipment and software to bring us into some of the compliance, to bring us into compliance with some of the mandates of this new law. You know, I'm anticipating that there will be some grant funding coming down the pike, but it has not as of yet. And so certainly if we're eligible, we'll capitalize and take advantage of that. But from what I've heard so far, the grants at first might be for departments that don't have any of this technology in place as of yet. So we'll have to wait on that and see what becomes available. And even along with that and other components of the bill, there's a lot of legislation and logistics and things to be coordinated that's still being worked, out at the state level. But the body cameras and the dashboard cameras are certainly going forward. So that's what we're looking at for that. And those prices. Go ahead, Matt.
I'm sorry. I thought you were through with the body cameras. When you're done, I'll ask you about that.
Okay, sure. So some of the components that we're looking for, we need to get 3 additional in-car videos, some additional body cameras, and it's just upgrades of batteries, extended life batteries, cables, so it'll facilitate wearing the body cameras more efficiently on outer garments. And there's new software that's needed because we'll have to provide redaction, have the ability to redact things from the video so it can be released to the public. And we also need to integrate our in-car videos with our body cam videos. So the software to take care of that, if that's all encompassed in the in that price that I had quoted you there.
What I wanted to ask you is whether Public Act 20-1 is significantly different in what it requires with respect to body cameras and screen cameras from what the department has been doing. Are there big changes in what you need to do?
No, but up till now it wasn't mandated. So we mandated it ourselves. So now say we fell short or whatever, we could make do and make ends meet until we got beyond whatever obstacle we might have encountered on the technological side or whatever, or equipment side. But because of with the new law being enacted, that won't really be an option. So we have to be ready for that. And it did some of the things, the software and the integration components were something that we didn't do before. We didn't have the ability to redact certain things out of videos before we release it. That's something that they're mandating, that you have the capability to be able to do.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So that's all for the body worn and in-car video. Another, Matt, you want me to go on to the vehicles?
Yeah, I think everybody understands you're up for 2 vehicles this year.
Yeah, so we're looking at the 2 vehicles for this year. Both would be requested. Both of the vehicles will go right into the patrol division, and we're sticking with the SUVs because, as I said last year, and it continued again for another year. They've proven reliable and dependable with the weather. Currently, we have no more Crown Victorias except for 2 that are being used as unmarked vehicles in ISU, and both of those have excessive mileage as well. But once we get, the next 2 vehicles we get, or any vehicles we get, for every vehicle we get, we'll retire one from our fleet, so they're not additional vehicles, and they're not increasing the number of vehicles that we do have. And just, I just wanted to point out that over the last year and a half or so, we were able to reduce our fleet by several vehicles. We auctioned off an old Chrysler Sebring that was an undercover car, an old Crown Vic. We finally got rid of the old pickup truck that we had. And we have 1 Crown Victoria that's currently decommissioned and awaiting auction. And most recently, this past August, we turned over our Ford 500 sedan to Human Services Department for their use on the replacement of one of their vehicles. But we currently have 3 patrol cars with between 92,000 and 116,000 miles, and not to count their idling mileage. And any cars we order, as you know, in July, we won't get for 6 or 7 months after that. So we're still looking at another year from now down the road with that mileage. So that's on the cars.
Any questions? Okay.
The third project for fiscal year 22 that I wanted to propose was to address security concerns at the police department with the implementation of an administratively controlled electronic door access system. You might recall this was presented last year for this current year, and it was moved out to fiscal year 22. And our presently access into our facility still continues by use of a standard key that unfortunately can be copied easily without any restrictions. So because of that, we're looking for an electronic S2 door locking system, which would enable us to monitor, restrict, and eventually control door access. It's similar to what's at the town hall and Public Works, and they're just doing some work, same company doing the same work at the center complex now. They gave us their quote last year, and we discussed it with them again this year, and they were willing to, agree to honor the same price that we proposed last year at $14,750. Those are the 3 projects for fiscal year 22. And then going out to fiscal year 23, in keeping with our goal of promoting highway safety and reducing accidents and injuries, we're looking to purchase an additional speed awareness monitoring trailer in fiscal year 23. We have one, and it remains in constant use, and it's always being requested. And because it could be so easily moved, it's worked really well in addressing the concerns of the residents. I know Betsy Yagla, in conjunction with her efforts in the Woodbridge Complete Streets Committee, recently submitted a grant for DOT funding for pedestrian bicycle safety. And part of that, she did put in funding for some permanently affixed speed awareness monitoring equipment. So if that comes through, then that would be great. And if it doesn't, we'll have this in place to offset that detail. And then the last request is the one that we've been talking about for years, but it's the renovation of the police facility back in correlation with the space needs assessment that was done back in 2009. And as we move forward to enhance public safety and operations over here, we anticipate the renovation of the police department will someday become a reality. But we understand the current climate and the current economy, and we know it won't be in the immediate future, but we realize it's still a necessity, but we've moved it out to fiscal year 24. And that's all we have for this year.
Okay, any questions for Frank?
I have a question. Hi, Frank.
Hey, Beth.
Hi. Just have a question about the police vehicles. You're asking for 9,768 and for two vehicles. Vehicles are, that's state 5152.
You know what? You broke up a little bit with Beth.
I'm sorry, what?
The two vehicles are 48,834 each.
Okay, it says at the bottom, each one is how much? 48.
48,834.
So the bottom option of the 2021 Ford Utility Police Interceptor hybrid model is also available at a higher price.
Oh, the hybrid, yes, yes, correct.
And these are all under state bid, correct?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yep.
And these are available through state bid. Okay, that's all I had asked.
Yes,
Thank you
yes,
so
through
much.
MHQ, they do all the, most of the dealing, the monopoly in the state. Yes, correct. Okay.
And I did have a question, Frank, with the changing the door locks. Are there just two locations for this?
Well, we proposed the two, so the main front entrance and the main back entrance, but the unit itself has the capability to expand to 16 different locations, so we could move it throughout, do multiple doors down the road, should funding come available or as it comes available.
Sure.
So
Okay,
it's expandable. Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That concludes this meeting, and we'll take care, Frank. And we'll
Okay,
see
thanks,
you,
everybody. Good night.
see you, Thursday at 6
Frank,
o'clock
thanks,
sharp.
Rob.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Ray's here too. He says hello.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Who's that? Who that?
Hi, everybody.
Bye.
Okay. See.